We're moving straight to some breaking news coming in. DMK leader MK Stalin's car has met with an accident at a toll gate near Chennai. His vehicle was waiting in line to cross the Palikonda toll gate and a car tried to overtake his vehicle, reportedly losing control and damaging Stalin's car, destroying the right end front lamp cluster. Stalin escaped the accident without any injury and got into one of his aides' cars and has left for the city. This is the second such incident with the DMK leader's new car. Last month, one of his wheels of the car blew up due to excessive tire pressure. We're now going straight to our correspondent Pramod. Pramod, bring us up to speed. Just what happened and what is the situation now? You're telling us that he has moved on beyond that point, but is there any of his other aides who've got injury?
Well, Jugal, this is like Stalin is on a kind of special trip around Tamil Nadu called he's conducting special meetings and also special councils along with the action committee in DMK. He's trying to get a stronghold of the party, and after DMK leader announced that he'll be the political head, he's gone on a super speed trip around Tamil Nadu, and as in such a speed trip in Vellore, he was returning from Vellore to Dharmapuri, another district, and at that point he was crossing Palikonda toll gate, as you mentioned, and what has happened is that another car which was trying to break a lane tried to take over Stalin's car, and it hit the Land Cruiser's right lamp cluster. Apparently Stalin was on the left side seated over and the driver was on the right side, so Stalin did not have any kind of injury. He immediately got into one of his aides called Gandhi's car and left the place. And this is not the first incident. Stalin is very much known to like good cars. Specifically, he has a great passion for Land Cruisers, and this was a recently imported Land Cruiser. Not even 2 months back, he bought this car, and even like last month, what happened is that when he was coming from Guindy after a trip, one of the car's tires also burst out. But it was found later that there was no fault plate, but just there was no balance with the pressure, and that's the reason it happened. For now, Stalin is. We spoke to Stalin's authorities, and they say that he's quite well and nothing's wrong. He's continuing with the trip as of now, Jugal.
That was Pramod Madhav. They're bringing us up to speed. Moving on with some other breaking news. This time around, we're speaking about the United States, which has released an advisory warning India of a possible terror attack by the ISIL. The US Embassy has warned of an increased threat to places in India frequented by Westerners, such as religious sites, markets and festival venues. US citizens in India have been warned to maintain a high level of vigilance and take appropriate steps to increase their awareness of security. This, as we said, coming from the United States of America. Remember, United States of America and India share an extremely close intelligence relationship. The FBI, the Indian investigative agency, is often trained together, and this particular warning coming as it is from the most advanced intelligence gathering input in the entire world ought to be taken seriously. We're now joined by editor output Shiv Arun. Shiv, as I was saying, the US is, of course, an extremely advanced machine in terms of gathering intelligence inputs. How seriously do we take something like this, which has come about from them?
Extremely seriously, Jugal. You're absolutely right. It's the most advanced intelligence gathering apparatus across the globe. The US is also one of the principal nations fighting the Islamic State threat in Iraq and Syria at this point of time. They've easily, by far, got the largest number of signals and intelligence assets that are trained directly at ISIS itself. So they are very well aware of what's happening in terms of operations, in terms of intended attacks, in terms of future strategies of ISIS, not just in the Iraq-Syria area, but also in other parts of Asia, including India, which, as you rightly pointed out, both countries have an intelligence sharing arrangement already. Now, so this has to be taken very seriously because it's also quite specific. It talks about places frequented by Westerners, including marketplaces, places of worship. There are several such areas in the national capital and the rest of the country. So this will obviously mean, a great deal of follow-up by Indian investigating agencies and security agencies, because this is something that the ISIS has tried to do before. Bleed Westerners, bleed, Americans or Europeans, expats in other countries. So this is something that will be taken very, very seriously by Indian intelligence agencies and the police.
Many thanks, Shivarur. That was the story being reported about an intelligence input on this issue. Moving on to the next breaking story that we have out here, the residential quarters of the district education officer in Shopian, which is in Jammu and Kashmir, has been set ablaze. The fire which broke out at the building has damaged a number of parts of the structure. The fire was allegedly set by unknown assailants who escaped after starting the blaze. No casualties as of now have been reported, but details are expected to roll in as the situation develops. We are now joined by our Jammu and Kashmir Bureau Chief Ashraf Wani. Ashraf, could you tell us more about this incident?
Yes, Jugal, basically this is a residential quarter, the government accommodation of district education officer in Shopian, which has been put on fire by some miscreants in evening today. There was the partial damage in the building. Now the fire has been brought under control by the help of fire vendors there. But absolutely something concerning that since last so many days, particularly after the unrest in the valley, the education institutions are being targeted by the miscreants. Today, police claimed that they have arrested some people and are looking for some. But so far, this series of attacks on the educational institutions and their associated offices are being targeted continuously across the Kashmir Valley, and the main target in the South Kashmir. And today, the incident occurred in the Shopian district, which also comes in South Kashmir.
Ashraf, today we also had the news of the police in the state claiming that they've busted this group of miscreants who've been setting schools on fire. 25, the last count told us. Is the police able to tell us more about just who these people were, and how is it that a group of miscreants are able to actually set ablaze government institutions without being challenged?
Joel, basically, if we see the background of this whole thing which come up in the Kashmir Valley, in early 90s, when the militancy was at its peak, more than 100 schools were put ablaze during that period. Because in the rural areas, there are only the government structures like the government schools, which are being targeted by the protesters. But during the last few days, we can say during last 10 days, specifically many schools have been targeted, which has become the issue, and people as well as government as well as the parents of the children are concerned. So far, the police is clueless. They have arrested some of the miscreants in South Kashmir, particularly in the Kulgam district. But today, Deputy Inspector General of Police clearly said that they have identified some of the miscreants, but some of them have left the valley and are in the different parts of the country. And they are investigating the matter, and in coming days, they will come up with the whole plot who are behind burning the schools in the Kashmir. There was also the very high concern taken by the state Jammu and Kashmir High Court, and they have also directed the government as well as the police authorities to ensure the security of schools. But so far, there are not so many steps being taken by the government. Schools are not functioning, and even this new challenge with the government that school buildings are being specifically targeted across Kashmir.
That was Ashraf Wani bringing us up to speed with the incident and also providing a solid background. Moving on to our next story. Pari celebrated her first birthday barely 2 months ago. Today, she lies unconscious on a hospital bed in Jammu. Pari was celebrating Bhai Dooj today with her family in Samba's Rangrur village. 3 of her aunts and her cousins had come over to visit. But even as the sweet boxes were being opened, darkness fell as Pakistani guns boomed, shattering the calm and claiming 4 lives. 4 of Pari's relatives were killed in Pakistani shelling, including 2 cousins, her aunt and her grandfather. While her father and mother were also injured along with the rest of the family, she is recovering from a grievous neck injury and may need a surgery. Pari and her family were the victims of one of the most aggressive border outflare by Pakistan. It claimed 8 lives of civilians and at least injured 20. Ashwini Kumar, our correspondent, travelled to the villages along the international border where locals are living in fear.
Innocent Indian citizens paying the price for Pakistan's border backstabbing. Aiming directly at houses, local shepherds and even women and children. Pakistan's thirst for Indian blood knows no bounds. Little Pari was injured in park shelling as the family was celebrating Bhai Dooj in Samba's Rangrur village, while her father Rakesh and mother were injured along with other family members. As Pakistan continues to breach the ceasefire in at least 5 sectors of Jammu and Kashmir, locals in the border villages are cowering in fear.
खोलिया जैसे मुई नटी दा बोगर मंजी ने 2 ही द्रोड़ियां दा बस उते गोले दो आगे भी ता पीछे भी उते खत्म होई जरी।
India Today was the first channel to reach the heart of the areas ravaged by relentless Pakistan shelling. In Rajouri, where 2 women fell prey to Pakistani firing on Tuesday, villagers are panic-stricken. Death stares them straight in the face from across the border.
हम बहुत परेशान हैं। पाकिस्तान से बहुत ज़्यादा गोले आ रहे हैं, बहुत ज़बरदस्त गोले आ रहे हैं। हमारी कोई परेशानी इतनी है कि पूछो मत।
हमने सेफ लोकेशंस पे कैंप्स कायम किए हुए हैं और उनके वहाँ पे सभी जो मिनिमम बेसिक फैसिलिटीज़ हैं वहाँ प्रोवाइड की जाएंगी। At present, the heavy firing is going on in Jangad area, Ser, Makdi, Nam, Khaladi villages which are ahead of fence. Heavy shelling is going on.
We are integral part of the country. इसमें कुछ दो राय है ही नहीं हमारी, और बावजूद इसके मारे जा रहे हैं। इसमें तो हमारे मुल्क को देखना चाहिए, प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब को सोचना चाहिए क्यों मारे जा रहे हैं। इसके लिए खातर का बंदोबस्त करना चाहिए हमारे लिए।
The entire district is terrorized, shaken by Pakistan's unprovoked firing.
Police has not reached here. Nobody. India Today is the first team which reached here, but we are just searching here where the death has occurred, where the house has totally collapsed.
As the Indo-Pak border goes red hot, casualties are mounting, hospitals are overflowing, and ambulances are desperately trying to be on time to ferry the injured. With Ashwini Kumar on the international border in Jammu sector, Bureau Report, India Today.
It's a bloodbath on the border as Pakistani guns opened unprovoked fire in 5 sectors of Jammu and Kashmir. The people of the valley are facing the brunt of Pakistan's attack as a series of ceasefire violations. Pakistan killed 8 civilians in just 6 hours. The Indian forces hit back in equal measure and destroyed 14 Pakistani posts, eliminating 2 of their soldiers.
One of the deadliest days ever for civilians along the Indo-Pakistan frontier, with Pakistan not only targeting army and BSF posts, but the civilian population as well. There have been multiple deaths, with most being women and young children who were at home during the day. The ceasefire violation started last night and continued late into the day, with Pakistan raining fire on poor innocents, targeting them with sniper fire, bombarding border areas with heavy mortar shell.
Since early in the morning, Pakistan is using heavy mortars like 120 mm shells and automatic weapons. The attack has been mainly on the civilian area in the sectors of Araspura, Samba, Ramgarh, Naushera and Poonch.
Authorities claim there are adequate measures to keep civilians safe, but many villages in the affected areas are being evacuated.
The army and the BSF are on the frontiers, and we are looking after the logistics and other issues which the local administration can do, and we are trying to instill maximum confidence, and we have the infrastructure.
It's just Pakistan's frustration, says the BSF. The government maintains that the forces are hitting back and hard.
India is facing lots of challenges because of the various elements working against our national territory, our interests. So our forces are responding appropriately.
In retaliatory action, multiple Pakistani posts were destroyed and at least 2 soldiers were eliminated. Pakistan's shift in strategy is clear. Sensing the futility of targeting Indian forces, Pakistan is now trying to force India to blink by killing innocent civilians, not realizing that it is weakening its already precarious position on the international stage. With Ashwini Kumar and Kamaljit Sandhu, Bureau Report, India Today.
And staying with the story, Pakistan's rogue spy agency, the ISI, is hatching a sinister plot to ruin the future of youngsters in the Kashmir Valley. Sleeper modules of the ISI-backed terror groups are systematically setting fire to schools. The sinister aim: ruin education and replicate the Islamic State model, perfected in Syria and Iraq, where school kids are merely cannon fodder to push the jihadi agenda.
A sinister plot to cripple Jammu and Kashmir and recruit youngsters from the valley to swell the jihadi ranks. Pak spy agency ISI's Islamic State-inspired plan to radicalize. A multi-agency report submitted to the centre reveals that the students in class 9 to 12 are most vulnerable.
जो भी स्कूल जलाते हैं इंसानियत के दुश्मन हैं, लेकिन भारत और कश्मीर के आवाम उनका भी प्रण है कि ऐसे जितने भी हमले होते हैं उसके परे होकर भी हम सीखते रहेंगे, आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे.
The fire attacks on nearly 30 schools in the valley are part of the evil design. The ISI is emulating the Islamic State's policy of squashing schools in Syria and Iraq, and then hiring the youngsters for an anti-India terror.
न सिर्फ ये कि अफसरान या पुलिस की प्रोटेक्शन, बट एट ए कम्युनिटी लेवल हमें बहुत ज़रूरत है इस तरफ एक सोशल मोबिलाइजेशन की, ताकि हम इन स्कूल्स को अपने बच्चों के मुस्तकबिल को सेफगार्ड करने के लिए प्रोटेक्ट कर सकें.
The rogue Pak spy agency has roped in a new terror motivator and the team of separatists. The radicalized stone pelters who took on the security forces during the Kashmir unrest are another vital cog of the ISI terror machinery.
हमें एग्ज़ाम देना पड़ता है, लेकिन यहाँ पे लोगों ने स्कूल चलाए, पता नहीं अब कि हम क्या करें, इसमें कौन कौन इन्वॉल्व है इस स्कूल चलाने में, कॉलेज चलाने में. तो गवर्नमेंट से हमारी यही अपील है कि जल्द से जल्द हालात को ठीक करे.
The PDP-BJP government has launched a crackdown on the ISI-backed terror modules targeting schools in the valley. But can it save the future generations of the valley? With Jitendra Singh, Bureau Report, India Today.